start with Brook. This morning I'm talking to Brook Durling, who's in Western Australia, whose company is called Simon and Louise Photography. And Brook is based in Kalamundra, which is a suburb out of Perth. It's about 24 kilometres from Perth. And welcome, Brook, and good morning.
Thanks, Benny. Thank you very much. Good morning to you too,
And
to everyone who's listening.
It is a good morning, isn't it? Because what time is it in Perth?
It's just ticked over 5:30 in the morning, so the sun is starting to show, and it's best time of the day.
Yes. The thing is, Brook, you normally get up this early to do our Skype sessions, right?
Correct. Yeah, I normally get up at 5 o'clock, make myself a lovely coffee, grab a glass of water, and settle down on the couch with my iPad and get ready to learn more fantastic ways to make my photography business fly.
Yeah, and that's good because you know, it's that's a bit of dedication, I think, and that's great.
But it's that, and coupled to the gym. It's every other morning is the gym. So.
Well, it's either me or the gym, is it?
Pretty much.
Yeah,
well, less painful.
I reckon. So, Brook, you started your business in 2010.
Correct.
And it was, you know, because of your passion for photography, that you had this desire to be self-employed.
Correct.
And over that time, it's only been a couple of years, you've built up a little bit of a business.
Yeah, so it's been a couple of years. I've done basically my own sort of just getting in there and trying to build some business and clients whilst also working full-time. So it never really took prime positions.
Yeah.
And it was something that I just over time, just, you know, word of mouth and those sorts of things to try and build something. And a lot of it in the early days was good because I earned enough money to, I suppose you could say, refresh my gear bag, buy into the things that I really needed, I felt, to be able to take a good range of images and not be limited by my glass or whichever, because I'm a bit of a photography tech geek. I love all the gear.
Yeah, now you have a background in psychology as well.
Yes, I studied psychology at Murdoch University over here in Perth. Believe it or not, that was back in, I think, '04 I graduated.
Yeah.
And yeah, it's an interesting piece of paper to have, that's for sure.
Yeah, well, that's great. So in the beginning, obviously, on the screen is sort of where a lot of photographers that I talk to start off. A little bit confusing. You'd laid a few foundations, but not really strong foundations.
Correct. I had. Yep. So, but I was just going to say, I had what I thought was a business plan, and I had what I thought was a smart way of doing things. And it worked really, really well for the first little period, and then it kind of plateaued quite rapidly. Yeah. And I was at a loss of what to do because I didn't have a lot of time spare. I didn't have big marketing budgets to go and run massive ad campaigns, those sorts of things. And so, yeah, I really didn't know where to go.
Yeah, well, that's what I'm here for, to give you a bit of sort of direction on that. So you're married?
I am, yes. Married with a young boy.
So Isaac was born in May 2 years ago. So you've got a little 4-year-old.
4-year-old.
Yeah, well, that keeps you busy as well, hey?
It does. It's good because he's a model for any of my new lighting techniques.
Yeah. Yeah, well, isn't that what we use our kids for, to photograph them?
Absolutely.
So let's look at this journey that you're on, and this is a journey. And so with your coaching program that I'm doing with you, it's over a 4-month period and plus a 2-month extra bonus. So we've got plenty of time, and we're only 2 months in, so we're going well. So this is our beginning. So you're just at the beginning. We started this year, so that's great. And this is your little one.
Yeah, that's Isaac.
And we'll come back to Isaac later because we used him in a Facebook promotion, right? Which we had quite good results with.
We did, yes.
Okay, so let's just talk firstly about this studio. When I started coaching you, you hadn't decided or not, I don't think, whether you were going to utilize or build a studio from your garage.
Correct. So my dad came up with the idea to convert it to a room because we were suffering from the lack of space in the house because the once was the nursery became the office.
Yeah.
And a new room became the studio. And this basic background was, you can see the picture of the garage on the right-hand side, was just a junk heap. It just stored rubbish from the renovations that we did and leftover stuff when we bought the place. And my dad had the brave idea of saying, why don't we gut it, strip it, and turn it into a room?
Yeah.
And from there, chatting to you about it, because it was a bit of a financial commitment to do it, I wanted to make sure that we could really get the business flying if I was going to stick a small amount of capital into it.
Yeah, and the point was when we discussed it, I think it's a bit of capital appreciation as well. And you'll have a studio selling area, which is, what you should have, really.
Well, that was I felt, and I think when we talked about it in the coaching, that was a clear. I mean, I identified it before we even started coaching, but I had no idea how to go about it and do it.
Yeah.
And I think that was one of the big things for me was the actual sales process. Like I didn't have a professional way in which to show people images and to show them what I offer as product, etc.
Yeah. So this is a work in progress.
Absolutely.
And you yourself are painting it at present, so it's a lot more advanced than we see there.
Absolutely. So that on the left-hand side is it cleaned out. So it was full of horrible spiders, and for all of the people that know me, I don't really like spiders that much.
Mm-hmm.
So lots of yuck in there, but we've pulled in, got the electrician to rewire it, and believe it or not, a referral from my wife's hairdresser you do the plasterboard, and the jib rocking, and you can see on the right, it's all got internal walls and lightnings, etc. Now fully insulated, but it's now had a first coat of paint over it, and it looks, you'd never know that it looked like that on the left beforehand, and it's just phenomenal.
And you're leaving the beams in it so you can hang things from it, like lights?
Correct. I'm using those as supports to mount lights off. Haven't figured if I'm going to get a sky rail yet or just some monoliths or something.
Yeah. And so the outside, will be the entrance?
Yeah, that's the new door. So we took out the horrible roller door, put a new door in, and I still need to patch up around the door and repaint the front.
Yeah, but it's going to look great, and at least you've got you've got a studio, which is good. So, because when we spoke, early on in the piece, when we're trying to determine where you're going to take photographs, your branding, your positioning, and you said you wanted to shoot outside, by not having a facility, that meant that it was hard to do the selling because you'd got no dedicated space to do selling, which is the most important space that you can create.
Correct.
You don't need a studio, but you sure need a selling space because that's what it's about. The end result has to be money.
Well, I mean, what I was doing previously, Bernie, and I'm sure we've laughed about this before because it was just doing my head in. I used to take samples of the things that I would sell the photos as, so the different print sizes and whatnot. I'd take them to people's houses with my laptop, hook into their TV, show them the images, show them the different print sizes, feel like a travelling insurance salesman, mind you. And
yeah,
that was how it was, and it felt such an imposition on people's on their lounge rooms, and I got sick of doing that, and so it just kind of went to the online, here's your web gallery, go and have a look and tell me what you want.
yeah. And I mean, it's not the ideal. You've got to get in the ideal sales situation to maximise the sales. It's that simple, isn't it?
Correct. And I think the benefit of the building that you see in front of you is it's detached from the house.
Yeah.
So for me, it's a benefit because I have an active family. I have my wife who works as well in her own business. I have my son who's 4 who loves to run around the house.
Yeah.
And be a child. I have a cat. So coming into my actual house, it's quite small.
Yeah.
And it also means it takes the pressure off of me of having to make sure the house is spotless. I just need to make sure the garden looks nice.
Yeah, yeah. No, it's great. So I've put this little whoops in here because what I find is a lot of photographers and a lot of business people lose the way. And as we discussed earlier, you know, if you're the captain of the ship and I'm the navigator, it's my role as a coach to keep you on course and to give you the shortest course to your destination. And I think that's one of the things, and you've been great at that. You haven't wandered too much, actually, but keeping you on course is what I intend to do. And we're going well. We're on the right track, hey?
Absolutely.
Okay, so we said, okay, so we're going to start the studio. We better start marketing now. It's no use waiting until you've got your great facility and then say, now what am I going to do?
No, absolutely.
Because, you know, the old thing about build it and they will come, I learned decades ago, doesn't generally happen. And if it does, it's short term. So we decided we'd put some marketing into place, and just 2 things we want to mention. One is the book that we're doing. I suggested a book that we drive towards Mother's Day, but also to get families in. So we went through that process of sorting out the photo which we wanted to use, and that. Tell us a bit about how that went with you. Where are we at with that?
Okay, so the book idea has been absolutely loved and adopted by the small business community up here. So I've had a lot of the local small business owners. Calamunda's it's a small town, by no means removed from Perth at all.
Yeah.
We have all your major banks, all your major things, and it takes me 30 minutes to get to the city. But it's there's a big small business community, and so a lot of people are always, a lot of people after a while of living up here. And they've adopted it and they love it. They want to have the posters in their shops, and they do. And they're all, it's a great cause, so they're all on for it.
Yeah.
So I've managed to get this into a couple of the higher end ladies' boutiques in Kalamunda, the lingerie store, which is extremely fitting, no pun intended. There's a couple of restaurants that I'm in discussions with through the Chamber of Commerce to put posters up in there, the hairdressers, etc. It's all been really well received.
So,
sorry?
Yep. So what we did, I gave you this project, a project that I've done many times and I've done many times with photographers. And I said to you, okay, Brooke, this is all right having this, but now we've got to drive it. Now you've got to get out there, talk to people you know, see if we can get some posters around, see if we can get people actually driving this to you. So you've done that, and that's great. You've been around to a lot of retail shops and spoken to people about it. You've had a good positive result. We haven't really launched it yet, have we? I suppose.
It's not been a massive launch. It's only been soft at the moment.
Yep.
Purely because that other marketing strategy of yours has kept me busy for the next 4 or 5 weeks.
Yep.
But this in particular, I had to print some of the posters myself. I've got the rest coming out I think they're ready today or tomorrow, because the MBCF signed off on it late last week, so that's when I launched the posters out.
Yeah.
And then I have a hard launch with them, and then it's all just going to go crazy from there, I do believe.
Yeah, well then we're going to go to the newspapers. And when do you hope to have your studio finished?
Studio has no choice but to be finished for the weekend of the 22nd. So I anticipate that we could see it by the end of the weekend of the 15th, 16th will be complete.
Of this month.
Yeah, so that's a fortnight away.
Fantastic. So that may be inappropriate if you can get the work done to have an opening and to launch this families.
Absolutely.
So do the 2-in-1, and then you'll get a bit of newspaper coverage and all of that. So that's great. So that's an ongoing project that'll keep going now for, could be 6 months, could be 12 months, but one thing we did, we sort of said, well, we've got to generate sittings. You need some display prints on the wall. So we put this Facebook promotion in. I threw this together very quickly, kept it very simple for you. What results did we have?
My phone didn't stop ringing for about a day and a half.
It was very simple. I chose the photograph. Yeah, chose the photograph for you. Said, look, let's target the market. Let's babies 4 to 9 months. So your phone didn't stop ringing. So what happened? How are we down the track with it?
Fantastic. So I've booked in. I had photo sessions on Saturday just gone. Lovely couple of young families with gorgeous little kids, or beautiful babies, as it was. And I booked out for the next 4 Saturday mornings with 3 sessions a morning, which for me, working full time, that's very busy.
So that's
a week.
So that's 12 sittings.
That's correct. 12 sittings off this. What I think is just a very simple idea, but brilliantly positioned.
Yeah, it's pretty straightforward, isn't it?
It was. I was overwhelmed. My wife said to me, "I don't think you can wipe the smile off your face."
That's good, and I hope you'll get into that position that a lot of photographers that I coach say, I've got too much work. And you're sort of saying that now. We haven't started.
Well, I couldn't at the moment. I couldn't do more than, whilst the studio's being built, I reckon I could cap out at 3 sessions a week without too much pain. But any more than that, and it will start to become a little bit bad. And what it's meant, it's quite amusing, is I'm actually saying to clients, look, I'm sorry, thank you for your interest. I'm next available to shoot on the 29th of March or whichever, and it's sending an interesting message.
Isn't it?
Brooks sought after. Brooks very busy. I can't get him to see him. Oh, when can I book?
Supply and demand. It's great,
Absolutely.
Isn't it?
It's fantastic.
It's great. So we did a simple strategy. I think we put one on the 20th of February, and we said we'd do this at 7 in the morning, and then another one, different photos, same thing, different photos, 7 at night. Went something like that?
That's correct.
Yeah.
That's correct.
Yeah. So it was pretty straightforward, simple strategy, but it worked. So the other one on the right there was with, with mum and dad.
Yeah.
So the pretty straightforward strategy, hey? So that's great. So let's move along a little bit. So you also do weddings. This is your wedding price list.
Yep.
So the wedding style you do is pretty modern, pretty relaxed.
Yep.
What would you say your style was with weddings?
With weddings, for me, it's about. I like to when I shoot a wedding, it's more about trying to tell the best story of their day, and I think when I'm looking for it, I'm trying to find images that are really going to be different from what I normally see out there, if that makes any sense.
Yeah.
As well as obviously some the must-get shots.
Yeah.
I just like to cover it in a really casual, relaxed, creative, sort of candid way. so that I get people more comfortable as opposed to overly heavily posed.
Yeah.
Unless they're really up for it. Like that picture in the middle, down the bottom.
Yeah.
Still today, my favourite wedding I've ever covered. It was the most fun, even though it wasn't actually a true wedding. It was a commitment ceremony because of current laws. But they were just up for anything, and the creativity that we could explore with them because of their just general openness was fantastic.
Yeah, that's great. As I say, it's very modern, very now. I like the look of it. Do you want to? We haven't actually worked on your weddings yet, have we?
No, I haven't done anything with wedding bookings. We've reworked a little bit on some of the product offerings and pricing, just to open up, I think, a little bit more to open the funnel a bit more to get more inquiries.
Yeah,
but we haven't spent any time working on the wedding stuff, no.
Yeah, well, that'll come as soon as we start creating some income for you, which is what we wanted. So we want your clients to pay for this renovation of the garage, don't we?
Absolutely.
And the way we worked the numbers last week, they could do that very quickly, couldn't they?
Yeah, absolutely. Well, the 12 sittings is, I mean, if you took even if it was only an average of say $500, that's a good
$6,000, yeah.
earner.
Yeah, and that's only in a month. So
absolutely.
We could pay for this in less than 6 months. It could all be paid for.
Yeah, and that's me. Yeah, absolutely.
So that's great. Okay, so these are latest prices that we put together.
Yes, I think I've knocked off the top package. I think I got rid of, and I think we've got one underneath the basic package. Yeah. Just we added a couple of CD only options.
Okay, so you better get this fixed, because this is from your website yesterday. I know. Yeah, okay. Before we start promoting, you've got that.
This is your job to keep me on track.
Yeah. Well, okay. Well, we'll do that. So obviously we're looking at success down the track, and obviously to make money.
Mm-hmm.
A lot of photographers think success in taking great photos. If you're a professional photographer, your success is measured or the first thing should be measured in numbers, and the second thing, it could be awards if you want, and then and the third thing could be your lifestyle. So, but as I've said many times, for me, it was a professional photographer is about making money, right?
Yeah.
For all those reasons. And
you can't be successful in business if you don't survive.
Well, no, because you don't have a business.
Correct.
If anyone's got any questions, if you can type them in, or Leanne, if you want to talk to us now, we can listen to you now, if you're still there. Have you got any questions, Leanne? Or no, we can't hear Leanne. So anyway, yeah. So if anyone else has got a question, they can type one, and we can see. There's one from Laurie who wants to know, Brook, how long you think it'll be before you can start doing this full time?
Good question. I would love to. When I first started with Bernie, I wrote a little brief, if you will, of the business, where it's at and where I want it to be. I would love to do this full time in 2015, which is next year, if you will. And we started working together, Bernie, halfway through January, was it?
Yeah, 15th of January.
15th of January. So I'd love to make the switch around January, February of next year. A lot's going to align with my main job to see when the best time is to exit that. because I have clients in that role that I have a lot of respect for as well. So I don't just want to suddenly pull the wool out from under their feet.
Yeah.
But I think at the moment, with the way that we're going, with what I've got in the studio viewing space, I think it's a real possibility.
Yeah.
Come October, November this year, I'm going to have a decision to make to say I can't keep working full time and shooting as much as I am. Where's what's going to go?
Yeah.
And I know what answer that is.
Yeah.
It all comes down. It comes down to numbers.
But I mean, you've worked so hard in the last 2 or 3 months as well, so that's accelerated your success. That's for sure.
Well, absolutely. As my wife said to me the other day, she said, "You've not stopped working," and I said, "Well, it's because I want this. It's something that I don't think I've wanted something as much as this in quite some time, and what's driving my want is that you're kind of, it sounds a bit cliched, but the hurdles that I've faced, you're helping me move. If that
right,
so
yeah.
I can kind of say, right, the viewing area is going, it's great. I've got a bit of a sales process in flown. I'm getting some bookings, whereas before I was waiting for the phone to ring, but all of a sudden they're here, and it's all kind of working.
Yeah, well, that's great. Another question that we've got from Tim is about what photographers do you follow? Who gives you inspiration there?
That's a good question. Let me see. I really like Calvin Hollywood. I think he's out of Germany, but he's English speaking as well. He has some really great advertising stuff. Jason Boland, who's a Queenslander, I think. He does a lot of the Hollywood stills, really loves some of that stuff. That's more in the commercial advertising space.
All right.
A client, an old photographer friend of mine from a long time ago, Rob Johnson, runs a studio in Perth here.
Yeah.
He's a very talented photographer, and I love a lot of his work.
Yeah.
There's been a bit of influence there. And in terms of, I think in general, I'm a member of a small camera club here, and a lot of them, whilst they're not professional photographers or anything like that, just their interest and their perseverance and their desire to succeed at what they do, that's a big inspiration as well. I like to watch their growth and their development, because you see such leaps and bounds.
Yeah.
And because they're looking for ways to do things, they sometimes really come up with something quite unique, and that fresh approach, that sort of, that makes answers the question.
Yeah, well, that's good. Yeah, thanks for that. So, and I know you've got to go. This is only a quick short hour session. We normally have a coaching session at this time, but that'll be in the next couple of days. But we've got people out there, some may be experienced photographers, some just starting off. What advice, so far, so young in your journey, can you pass on to them, do you think?
I think there's my advice in looking back, and hindsight's always crystal clear.
Yeah.
Would be, there's a saying that I picked up a while ago, and it's funny, I didn't even think about it now, is find people who can do things better than you and get them to do those things for you. And he's liken it to an accountant who you might take your tax return to because it gets too complicated and they can do it really well. Is seek advice. When you hit a roadblock and you're bashing your head against the wall, you can search Google all you like, you can search books and read books, etc. But when you've got working knowledge to tap into, it makes a big difference, because if someone's done it before and fallen over and gotten back up, it's a much easier thing to do than to fall over yourself. I mean, you're going to do that anyway. But I mean, I have I suppose the self-interest that I want to see this photography business move as quickly as possible and become what I do. And I think don't give up, but find ways to make it work. Seek advice. Never stop learning. Never stop refining your skill, both your business style and your photography.
Mm.
And find ways to work smarter.
Yeah, well, you know, having been in the industry for well over 40 years, one of the things that I think, and I look at what's going on, talk to photographers all the time, and I think, where's the new generation? Where's the new breed? Where are the leaders of the future that's going to take this industry where it, you know, needs to go? And Brook, I think you could well be one of those people. So with your attitude and the way that you follow instruction and, you know, with your want and your need, I think you're going to be one of those people. So it's great working with you.
Cheers, Bernie. Likewise.
So we've got a couple of more. I don't know whether there's any questions. Brenton's just arrived. Have you got any questions, Brenton? I can hear someone's... Yeah, so we got someone wants to ask a question, have we? No, no one asked a question. Leanne, you've disappeared.
Yeah, his studio and that's bloody nice.
Okay, so we'll call it a day. I think that certainly, and someone's just hopped in as well. So certainly, Brook, will thank you because I know you've got to fly now.
You're welcome, Bernie.
And for anyone else out there, just throw my little ad in. If you want this free ebook I've got, and I've revised this a couple of days ago, 7 Simple Strategies to Successful Studio. I'm quite proud of that book. It took me many hours to put that together. It's yours for free just by going to my website and asking for it. And I hope to catch up with some of you at the AIPP event where I'm one of the speakers this year, which is great. We can talk a little bit about business. My saying is your success is my success. And I really believe that. I just love to see people like Brook succeed in their businesses, and it's going to be so exciting, Brook, in the future. Can't wait for the opening.
Yeah, me too.
All right. Well, goodbye all, and goodbye, Brook, and thank you all, and please go and get your free ebook, 7 Simple Strategies to a Successful Studio, and we'll see you at the next webinar. If there's any particular person you'd like me to talk to at a webinar, let me know as well. All right, see you, Brook.